movie fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Uncharted Media Podcast. This is episode 128. We're going to do something we haven't done in a very long time. We're going to take your questions. Yeah, we put it up on our various social medias of questions that you would like us to talk about on the podcast, whether they could be very, quick yes or no type questions, some longer discussion-related questions, or questions about us and our relationship to movies. I'm looking forward to it because, honestly, we don't have a lot of movie news topics this week, but the topics that we do have, I feel like we can get some nice depth out of. But before we get into all that, Josh, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, buddy. By the time this episode airs, it'll be my birthday.
Yeah, it's the 5th, correct?
The 5th of May, yeah.
So you're a Cinco de Mayo, baby.
Oh, yeah, baby.
You got any plans?
No, literally nothing. I really have nothing planned. I'm 29, so
it's not an important one. No offense,
it's not important.
It's not an important one.
To be fair, I don't think any of my birthdays are important. But
the one after that will be.
Or we can just ignore me turning 30. Let's just not talk about me being 30 at all.
Yeah, I don't know the feeling yet, but I'm living. I'm aware.
You will.
I haven't been watching a ton of stuff. Just been busy with a whole bunch of stuff this past weekend. Heather and I continued our trek with Smallville, and I'm not gonna lie, the most recent episode kind of broke me. Not in like a Sony Spider-Man curse the gods. I'll put it in layman's terms for Josh to understand. This past episode that I saw was basically the Smallville equivalent of the Dead Ben Scrubs episode.
Stop.
So there's a kid that they introduced in season 1 that is actually probably my favorite episode I've seen so far, of this boy, due to various things going awry in Smallville, develops some supernatural abilities. He can read people's minds, but he still ends up being a good kid. He doesn't use them for nefarious means. So Clark kind of takes him under his wing, doesn't have a family. So at the end of the episode, the kid gets adopted, happy ending. And it kind of reminded me a lot of a certain comic arc that basically Superman adopts Zod's son for a little bit, and they have a good relationship. So it was a really, really good episode. And so he comes back in season 2, but he's being experimented on, and Clark breaks him out and everything else, and there's ramifications for that. But then halfway through the episode, we find out that this kid, due to his psychic abilities, has developed a gigantic tumor in his brain and only has a few days left. And so Clark does everything in his power to try and get the best surgeons in the world, stops a plane and everything. And basically the surgeon is able to prolong it by a few days, and that's about it. So it's this really hard lesson that Superman has to learn at some point of, no matter how hard you try, you cannot save everyone. And so the episode ends with him taking this kid up in a hot air balloon, and the kid's I thought you hated flying, wink wink nudge nudge. But he says something about, I'm not afraid of flying when I'm flying with you. And I'm just stop, just stop it. I was not prepared for this. It doesn't help that the first episode with this kid in season 1 was my favorite of the show so far, because it was so good. But then they had to go and kill this kid off, and just nope, okay, it's Ben all over again.
Aw, poor Nathan. Speaking of family members dying, I've showed my father the Punisher series on Netflix. Hey, you can't do that. That segue was great. Don't even.
To clarify for our listeners at home, his father is still very much alive. Wow.
Okay, but you were talking about, how he adopts the kid and it's his family, and Frank Castle's family's dead, so the correlation works, right?
Explain that correlation.
Nah. So I've been watching that with him, and first season of some show ended recently, and I don't know where to start. Invincible, the finale of Invincible was last Friday. I've had a weekend and a few days to
Process.
to process. First of all, if you haven't watched Invincible up to this point, what are you waiting for? It's fantastic. J.K. Simmons is single-handedly the most terrifying man that exists, and like somebody was like, well, he's really scary in Whiplash. I'm like, I agree, but the season finale of Invincible makes Whiplash look like child's play,
and not like the Chucky movie, like actual.
No, oh my gosh, it's terrifying. Like, I don't want to ruin much. I don't want to ruin anything, but there's a moment where Invincible hits him as hard as he can, and Nolan just goes, please. And I literally almost peed myself. It was terrifying. Anyway, but that's what I've been watching lately. How are you?
Not too bad. You also have some, it's not news, but stuff off the top you wanted to discuss.
Oh, yeah. So I don't have actual numbers, because it varies between domestic and foreign. But the Demon Slayer, this is anime news for you nerds, you weebs out there. I gotta be the representative on the show of anime. The Demon Slayer movie is like, I think it has broke the 400 million mark in at least U.S. box office, which is for a movie in the time that we're in right now, it's kind of a big thing, and I guess it's only the second anime movie ever to make that much money.
How much did the Yu-Gi-Oh movie make, or the Pokemon movie?
But that's not anime. That's cartoons
in an anime style with an anime audience.
But you understand
yes.
what I mean. You get it.
I still consider Last Airbender an anime.
I mean, I do too, but it never had a movie. But yeah, no, it's like it broke, like last weekend, it broke 400 million. And the only thing that slowed it down a little bit was only the weekend that Mortal Kombat came out. And then everybody saw it and they were like, oh yeah, let's go watch Demon Slayer instead.
You talked about how Demon Slayer beat Mortal Kombat at the box office this past weekend. It's not like this is Demon Slayer's first weekend. This is its second weekend. It opened at the exact same time as Mortal Kombat. However, I don't want to be a pessimist, but I'm not going to attribute this as more Demon Slayer's success so much it is Mortal Kombat's failure. Demon Slayer, I think, is holding steady, whereas I saw the numbers. Mortal Kombat dropped 73% from opening weekend, which, if you're a movie, you want to fall between 50 and 60%. You want to lose about half your audience weekend over weekend when it comes to box office stuff. 73, that's a really big number, and I attribute that to HBO Max and not great word of mouth. Like, I think Mortal Kombat has such a niche audience that they were going to see this opening weekend regardless, and then once they saw it, I don't think the movie did a good enough job of getting the casuals in to see it, and the word of mouth also was not strong enough to bring the casuals in. So I'm going, yeah, I could see how Demon Slayer was able to beat this in only its second weekend, and Mortal Kombat had such a sharp drop-off, whereas Godzilla vs. Kong did not.
Yes, and I think what's the other thing that helps it a little bit is that, technically speaking, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but the Demon Slayer movie came out, like, actually released in Japan, like, I want to say beginning of the year. So we've had, like, the U.S. audience has been waiting basically 6 months for this movie to come to the U.S. So, I mean, that has definitely helped it a lot. But speaking of movies...
So, out of completely nowhere, Marvel just is just like, oh, hey, we haven't done any news anything in a while. Kevin Feige, can we do some news? He's like, a little bit, as he's sitting in his, like, Thanos chair of power. You can release a little bit. As I'm not gonna lie, I was left super, super confused by this announcement that's come out, because it's a bunch of random Marvel things. So what we're talking about is, I believe was it yesterday, Josh? I believe Monday.
Monday, yeah.
Monday. Marvel just out of nowhere decides to drop this like teaser video talking about returning to the theater and going, we can't wait to be back in the theater. Here's everything for Marvel Phase 4. And it gets really, really interesting. They showed like some clips from some of their upcoming stuff. Like a little tiny bit of Black Widow, like whatever was left to not show, because Black Widow, I feel bad for the marketing team of Black Widow. They've just been like, what can we show? Because we're running out of options because we've delayed this so many times, and with each delay we've had a trailer. Black Widow showed a little bit. Shang-Chi showed a little bit, like one new shot. The first look at Eternals, though, with a couple quick glimpses, which over the past week or so, Eternals has really shot up my most anticipated list because director Chloe Zhao just won Best Director at the Academy Awards for Nomadland, which you can watch on Hulu. I'm going to get around to it at some point. I'm trying to think. I think Nomadland won Best Picture as well. So we got a little bit of Eternals. Then we got release dates for Spider-Man No Way Home, Multiverse of Madness, Thor Love and Thunder. Then we got some new titles. We got the new Black Panther movie will be called Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which
oh my goodness.
I genuinely do not think there has been a more perfect name for a movie. That is just chef's kiss. That is how you honor a legacy. And we can talk about it more in a bit. They've talked about how they're going to reshape the narrative in this Black Panther movie. We've also got Captain Marvel 2, now called The Marvels. I think there's an interesting rationale for why they're doing that. Then we got release dates for Ant-Man 3, Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and some other tease that I think we'll close out on that. But Josh, one, why do you think they dumped all this? And two, is there any particular announcement that they made that sticks out to you the most?
I couldn't tell you why, because this really is out of the blue. It's not like DC. Well, I mean, I guess it's
something on Friday.
Oh, what? No way.
But to be fair, that DC thing was saying an announcement about upcoming announcements. This was actually about actual announcements.
Yes. So, I mean, but so we haven't, DC's not really doing much, I guess. So it's not like they didn't announce a full schedule of Fandom, and so this can be a response to that. But I don't know, man. It's coming out of nowhere, but easily Wakanda Forever is the thing that stuck out the most because, I mean, given everything, to me at this particular moment, Wakanda Forever is my most anticipated on this list. Only because I'm super curious as to what they're going to do to solve. I don't want to say problem, but
real life tragedy, basically.
Yeah, real life tragedy with the loss of Chadwick, and how do you do that when you can't film with him? How do you? I'm really nervous that they're gonna try to do a deep fake, and it's gonna look terrible, and it's not gonna. But I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, basically, to me, this confirms Shuri is gonna be the new Panther. But
I like the Wakanda Forever name a lot because it means the Black Panther legacy is more than just a person. Wakanda is a peoples. It is a group. Mm-hmm. It is a sense of belonging within a culture. Yes, our king is gone, but who we are remains. Wakanda Forever means a lot of things to a lot of different people, so I think this title is incredibly apropos. I'm not very worried about this movie in the sense because Chadwick Boseman and director Ryan Coogler were so close, and he said in recent interviews that they've more or less restructured this movie to basically be a monument to the legacy of Chadwick Boseman and basically make this a I don't want to say proper send-off, but a respectful memorial to the character of Black Panther, but also the person of Chadwick Boseman. So I feel like that respect will play into it. And with you, I think Shuri will be the new Black Panther, but I think it'll be more about the nation of Wakanda. How do you handle the loss of a king, basically? I think this will be much more communal.
yeah, how do you handle not just the loss of the king, but the loss of a king, like basically losing two kings in about 5 years. Like
Hmm.
that's gonna be a lot of really like unstable. Like to me, it's gonna be very interesting. Um, oh, this has nothing to do with the last section of this little news topic, but you know what I found out this week in Marvel related things? That Beta Ray Bill and Moon Knight are good friends, apparently. And now I kind of want that as a team up, and I'm down for it.
Beta Ray Knight.
That'd just be fun. So, you want to talk about
We'll
the
get
quote
there. We'll
unquote
get there. We'll get there.
Phase 4 logo? Whatever.
Well, let's talk about the Marvels really quick.
Yes.
So for those that are looking at that one next to Wakanda Forever going, what? The Marvels? That is Captain Marvel 2. They're retitling it to be The Marvels, which to me, maybe it's a little too early to call this, but I think them calling it The Marvels is a soft reboot to the Captain Marvel world in a sense of Thor Ragnarok. Kind of was a soft reboot slash reset to the Thor lineage after the lackluster response to Thor the Dark World. I think Marvel is very aware of how Captain Marvel was received by a certain amount of the fandom. I think some people have blown it way out of proportion. I didn't like it for a variety of reasons, but I think Marvel's aware of it, and I think they're kind of hoping to rebrand the image of Captain Marvel, because I don't want to sound like one of those toxic fans, but I think Brie Larson herself kind of comes off a little bit cocky and doesn't help her own case sometimes. Like, she has been a great actress, but I think she comes across as a bit confrontational at times, and I think that rubs people the wrong way. Whereas the character of like an Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., is still jokey and jovial and have fun in interviews, whereas Brie Larson kind of comes across as a bit harsh. And that could just be how like people that don't like her are over analyzing everything and scrutinizing every detail to be like, well, I don't like you, I'm gonna not like you even more. I'm indifferent, but I'm not the biggest fan of her Captain Marvel character, and I feel like The Marvels is a shift to more of a team Captain Marvel as opposed to a straight Captain Marvel sequel, because we know we've got Captain Marvel, played by Brie Larson. We're going to have Monica Rambeau back from WandaVision. We're also going to have Miss Marvel, who will already have her series done. They're filming that right now, which we're not going to talk about here because we don't talk about leaked set photos, but the Miss Marvel suit is pretty dang gum accurate to the comics. Holy crap. And the S in The Marvels is Miss Marvel's S from her logo. So I feel like they're trying to... It's like in a wrestling tag team match. For those select few people that are going to get this analogy, you've got your one strong guy that you want to make look strong, but he isn't necessarily the most popular with the crowd. So you stick him in a tag team with two people that are popular, and by proxy, that popularity might rub off on your star. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's kind of what Marvel's doing, of shifting from a Thor the Dark World to a Thor Ragnarok situation here with Captain Marvel. It's still going to technically be a Captain Marvel 2 with her leading it, but it's going to be more of a team dynamic with the other Marvels. Josh, do you see it any different?
No, yeah, that sounds exactly right. The S is literally they're not trying to hide that Miss Marvel's going to be in this. Yeah, and Monica is gonna. I almost there's a part of me that thinks they might try to shift the title of Captain Marvel to somebody else, because technically that she is not called that yet. So I don't know. I
Yeah.
wouldn't mind Monica shifting to Monica. I do like her a lot.
Oh, yeah. I
But
like Monica, too. It's just... My only issue with Monica was something with WandaVision. It just felt like we kind of fast-tracked her into her superpowers as opposed to, like, letting the character breathe a little bit. But that's just really nitpicking. Let's get into the most interesting thing that obviously came out of this, is Marvel just dropping an Easter egg and going, I don't know what you're talking about. Wink, wink, wink. That's the logo for Marvel Phase 4. And all of us are just going, really? This one in the corner, this one right here, That isn't at all the exact same logo for the Fantastic Four that you showed at your investors meeting back in December that you said was coming from Spider-Man director John Watts. That's not at all the same logo? You're just saying that that's now the logo for Phase 4? Bull. I'm saying it's two things. To me, this signifies that Fantastic Four will be the final movie of Phase 4, but also it's either the most obvious thing in the world, or reading too much into this, it's coming after Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Like, they just haven't set a date for it yet. And that's probably because it's 2024, which sounds a long way off, but it's only 3 years. And come on, from a marketing standpoint, that fits too well. Phase 4, Fantastic Four in 2024. Like, all the pieces are kind of fitting together.
Yeah, that's a marketing, you don't get those kinds of opportunities often. Like, you might as well take that.
If you had one chance, one opportunity, would you take
it? Spaghetti. Pull-ups heavy. Anyway,
Mr. Fantastic's arms of spaghetti.
So the thing that I have been trying to be wary of is all of you and I have our those websites that are just our favorite, because they take stuff like this that we'd say are like, is this confirmation? Is it not? It is confirmation, but it's not confirmation. But like all these websites are like, oh, Fantastic Four movie confirmed. Like, this is gonna happen. Within the next 4 years. It's like, it's not, guys. It's not confirmed. It's okay to just kind of be excited about things. You don't have to try to fan cast the movie already. Yeah. Okay. I say that knowing that we released how would we do the Fantastic Four video
with casting choices.
Yeah, with casting choices and everything. But I'm excited, man. That's a marketing opportunity that you can't pass up. I mean, 4 in 4. Watch them release it on, what is it?
April 4th.
April 4th. Yeah. Hold on. Let me see if that's a weekend. Actually, I don't know if my calendar can go that far. Anyway.
But also, another important thing to keep in mind here is, if this does come out in 2024, that'll be 9 years since the last Fantastic Four, with Fan Four Stick in 2015. That is plenty of buffer space. It's not like the X-Men movies where we just had New Mutants. We just had some other X-Men related movies fairly recently. Like, there will be some distance, and people will be clamoring for a Fantastic Four. Now, again, they didn't officially say that this is Fantastic Four when they made this announcement, but it is the exact same logo from the conference that, or investors call or whatever, in December. We know it is coming from director John Watts. I would not be surprised at all if they have their own people. Now, let's say hypothetically that this is Fantastic Four and it is coming out after Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Josh, where do you see the first signs or introductions to these characters? Like, we normally get characters or future teases in the end credits. Where do you see some end credits or some teases being of these movies that we've got coming out?
I could totally see something in Quantumania. Just because it's kind of science related. The Ant-Man and Fantastic Four seems like that would fit fairly well. Trying to think. I could see hints, like really small Easter eggs. I wouldn't be surprised in Shang-Chi.
Really? That soon?
I'm see. Here's the thing, though. You don't like small Easter eggs. You don't have to name people. You don't have to do casting. You can confirm and say, "Oh man, somebody else is moving into the Avengers Tower." You can just build things like that. Just hint at it for 4 years?
Oh, you mean like how in Spider-Man Homecoming they're clearing out the Avengers building and someone's moving in. And you know who teams up with the Fantastic Four quite a bit and was a Fantastic Four member for a little bit. Peter Parker. I've said forever now, and I was pretty sure, but it didn't end up happening, that we were going to get a Fantastic Four tease at the end of Far From Home. I'm going to shift my prediction down again, just slot it to the next Spider-Man movie, No Way Home. I'm still going to stick with the same thing of it'll be Peter and MJ walking through Central Park and be like, oh, nice to see that the Stark buildings, the Avengers Tower is done. Then they'll keep talking about something Spider-Man related, and then the scene will end. We just get a citywide pan up, and it's just got the 4. I've been saying that for years. I'm going to stick to my guns on this one, except I'm going to say it's now at the end of No Way Home instead of Far From Home. I think Spider-Man is the best bet because Spider-Man and Fantastic Four have such an intertwined relationship. Doctor Strange, not so much. Thor, off-world. Wakanda, maybe. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, maybe. If there's a Namor connection. Because Namor was one of the first Fantastic Four villains. He was a villain for a while. Black Panther being a king, Namor being a king. Okoye referencing underwater disturbances in Endgame. So maybe there's a correlation there. The Marvels, that's probably going to be intergalactic. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. I think if we don't get something in Spider-Man, Quantumania is the best bet because Peyton Reed, the director of all 3 Ant-Man movies, was hoping to be the one to direct Fantastic Four, but that didn't happen. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's some reference there. Maybe the Fantastic Four pulled out of the quantum realm because we already know Kang the Conqueror is the big bad, who is a descendant of Reed Richards, also known as Mr. Fantastic. So there's your out there. Guardians, there's a 5 to 10% chance on that one just because it would be the one right before this Fantastic Four. Again, this is all us speculating right now.
Yeah. I think, and again, like, I'm going to stick to my guns on, like, it doesn't even have to be something big. With Peter being so connected to Fury, depending on how No Way Home goes, and the before credits movie, with Fury being like, I gotta give Peter's like, hey, you want to stay for some shawarma or something, whatever. And Fury being like, nah, man, I gotta make a phone call. And then, movie ends, credits hit. And dude, we do this scene that you and I have always wanted where we see a phone ringing on a table and a hand stretches over and grabs it. Like, that's just, like, it'd be perfect. Like, that's all you gotta do, Like, it's just simple stuff.
So as excited as we were for the Marvel announcements that just dropped out of the heavens on Monday, Friday came another glorious return. DC announced the return of their virtual Comic-Con, DC Fandom, happening October 16th this year. And I'll be the first to say, I'm super, super amped for this. I thought last year's Fandom was a tremendous success, all things considered. Normally the big announcement type of things are reserved for Comic-Con, but more and more studios like Disney and Warner Brothers are putting their own events on because they can afford it, and more money stays within their own pockets, like Disney being able to announce things at D23. DC Fandom last year was all virtual because of COVID. However, we kind of went in with low expectations because, Josh, do you remember virtual Comic-Con last year?
Yeah.
That was a train wreck. That was abysmal. There was like no major announcements. It was just a very boring virtual experience. DC Fandom was a complete 180. It was a fun, interactive, engaging. I just had it up on our big TV all day and was locked in. It was a great time. But they were also able to make the most out of announcements given the fact that they really were still in the middle of a pandemic. They didn't have a lot of stuff filming at the time. So they had the Snyder Cut trailer. That was your big headliner. Then you had one of the greatest trailers of all time with the Batman trailer. I still get goosebumps with Vengeance. That's just glorious. But fast forward a year, and we're not going to be playing these, like, have the cast play fun virtual games and drop the title of a movie. We have the Batman that has now finished filming. It's pretty far along on post-production. We now have The Flash, which is filming. Black Adam, which is filming. We've got a whole bunch of movies that are coming out next year with Aquaman 2. I feel like there's another... Oh, those are the 4. Batman, Aquaman 2, Flash, and Black Adam. But we've got more and more projects. And now that we're coming out of the COVID era, I'm expecting this to be twice as big, maybe even 3 times as big an event. And last year was big enough already. Josh, you excited? What are your expectations for this year?
All right, I'm expecting a logo and a release date for the Static Shock movie. I'm calling it now.
Any casting?
I am not gonna cast.
Okay.
Only because I'm so open to a no name. I am so open to somebody we've never seen before. I really hope that they start him young, and he can grow into the role. If we have a whole, just to further the kind of discussion that we had in Captain America and Winter Soldier, or Captain Falcon, and what was it? Nope, he's
Falcon
Captain Falcon
and
now.
the Winter Soldier.
Nope, Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because you can't call it Captain America and the Winter Soldier because there's already a movie. Anyway, but I would love to further that discussion of not only what does it mean to be a black superhero
with a cop dad,
wait, but like also a kid, like a young black superhero.
I'm just now realizing how similar Static and Miles are.
Yeah.
Young black superhero with a cop dad.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't his uncle in Static Shock somebody that's villainous too?
Yep.
Brian Michael Bendis, did you copy? Because put it past him.
I'd see. Like, I don't know. I don't think Miles has a white best friend. I think. I don't know.
He got an Asian roommate.
Okay. I'm not going to say that's the same thing because it's not, but
it's more diverse.
It is. But I'm expecting more more Static Shock news. You have any bold predictions?
Casting for the new Black Superman movie.
Okay.
Okay. I think we will get information about Superman. It just will not be a Henry Cavill one because we've gotten some talks about this J.J. Abrams produced Black Superman. I don't know if we'll call it reboot or Elseworld. I think we'll get some confirmation of that. I think we'll get 1, maybe 2 new projects announced for HBO Max, whether they're series or movies. We'll probably get some progress on like the Batgirl and the Static Shock movies. I'm expecting 3 big trailers. I'm expecting a new trailer for the Batman, basically continue that trend a year later. A trailer for the Flash and a trailer for Black Adam. I think all 3 will have trailers because by October, all of those should be done filming. Honestly,
yeah, no, absolutely.
I'm debating if I think we're gonna get a Batman trailer at Fandom or during the Suicide Squad because that comes out in August, and that's the most ready to have a trailer, I think. Whereas if you wait till Fandom, you can still have that trailer, but maybe like some behind the scenes footage. Like I'm trying to think of Marvel recently did like a featurette or something instead of a trailer, just like show making of, which that could be just as good, and that would be more of your niche audience for Fandom that would eat that up. And then maybe just in the background have an owl mask laying around, please.
I wouldn't be like all that. I think I wouldn't say that's any of that as like bold predictions because I think that chunk of those are like
Let's see.
I think they're inevitabilities, man. Give me bold. Give me Static Shock out of nowhere bold.
Injustice 3 will be announced.
Oh, the game?
Yeah, Injustice 3, the game will be announced.
Okay.
Let's see, what else?
Yeah, bold. Give me bold. Give me impossible.
I'm not you, man. I'm not used to this. I think Henry Cavill will be there and announced to be in Shazam 2.
Okay.
But that's about the extent of what we'll get Henry Cavill-wise, unfortunately.
I can get that.
I don't think we'll get a Man of Steel or any big Superman announcement. However, DC Fandom, you did it last year, you're doing it this year. Stop marketing your movie with the classic Superman music. You get my hopes up, you deceptive, lying people. But I think we'll get some confirmation of the role that Henry Cavill Superman will play in, like what the projects that he will be in, whether it's Shazam, whether it's Aquaman, whatever else. Yeah, I think I'm trying to think of anything else, and we'll probably do some more DC Fandom related stuff when it gets closer to the event.
My big bold prediction, big and bold here. I'm gonna go announcement of another season of Young Justice.
I mean, we're already getting season 4 at some point.
Are we though?
Yeah.
Did they announce that?
Yeah, I forget what season 4 is called, but yes, like Justin McCartney and company have done some of their lines already.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind. Take that as my bold.
And Titans is filming right now.
Okay, well, you know what? I don't. Dang it! All right, hold on. I gotta think. You took all my big punchers.
Probably get concept art of the Green Lantern series.
You know what? I'll say it. Yes. Let's do concept art, and either concept art or more castings, or just a general plot summary. Being that segue, they announced one of their actors recently already.
Yeah, so we talked about the Marvel thing coming out of the blue. This is just as much, if not more, out of the blue, or out of the green, if you will. So the Green Lantern series on HBO Max has started casting, and they've got Finn Wittrock playing the role of lovable a-hole Guy Gardner. Now, I'm a little disappointed in this, I'm not gonna lie, because I still refuse to give up on the fact that this man right here looks like a spitting image of Dick Grayson. It is terrifying. If I didn't dye his hair right here, it is terrifying how much he looks like Dick Grayson in the comics. Minus the fact that he's 36 now, which does not look like that at all. I like the casting. I don't know how I feel about him as Guy Gardner, though, because Guy looks like he could eat him in the comics. Guy is a big Green Lantern. Also, I'm tired of people complaining. They're just like, really? The first character we cast in this show is a white guy? Why didn't we cast? Where's Jessica Cruz? Where's Simon Baz? I'm going, you do realize they are coming. We know this is a Green Lantern core show. He's not the main character. He's just one of the Lanterns. We're going to have Alan Scott. We're going to have Jessica Cruz. The only ones we're not going to have are Hal and John, because I still kind of think we're saving them for a movie someday. Josh, I know Guy Gardner is just your favorite DC character.
That's exactly why they announced Guy first, because nobody likes him. Because it's not a big deal who you cast as Guy. You know you have to cast a white guy as Guy Gardner. Like, you can't, like, yeah, all the Jessica Cruz and all the, like, even Kyle Rayner. Like, you could. There's so cool, so much cooler you can go with casting.
Which Kyle is the only one that I think of that we know is not going to be on the show.
I know, I'm aware.
Like Hal and John, they've said are off limits, but Kyle, they just don't care. They're going to shove him in a fridge somewhere.
See, like in an HBO Max show, it's perfect for Kyle's art, and it really makes me sad.
Oh no! If anybody's going to put somebody in a fridge, HBO Max would do it. Oh
exactly.
No! That's not a good thing, people. That's not a good thing. That was a dark moment in comics.
Such a good moment. What are you talking about?
That's when the Green Lantern comics jumped the shark of just going.
Oh no,
too
Nathan.
Dark and edgy.
Nathan, listen.
No, it was a bad choice that they immediately regretted as soon as they published the comic, and you know it.
But like, it's the catalyst for Kyle to be the first White Lantern. Like, what are you talking about?
Yes, because Jeff Johns retconned it into that being.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. But hindsight is 2020. But
just because Jeff Johns can work his way out of a paper bag into comics in terms of making things fit his proper narrative. For those that don't know, Kyle Rayner is another Green Lantern that his girlfriend died and her body was shoved in a fridge, and it's one of the darkest moments in DC Comics, and it was like unnecessarily dark, of just like there's been some dark moments, like Elongated Man, not Elongated Man. Yeah. No, not Elongated Man. Dr. Light, the whole Dr. Light situation. But that was unnecessarily dark. I doubt they'll go that dark. Also, they would have to have Kyle in the first place, but how?
Yeah.
I'll get Josh back with this. They won't do it for a while, and I would have preferred this in a movie. But how great would it be in like a season 5 or a season 6 if they are really truly serious about putting the money behind this, of a Blackest Night event on HBO Max?
Don't say it. I don't put that out in the universe because
Night.
you know,
Blackest Night.
You
Blackest
know,
Night.
They will drop it season 3 and completely ruin it.
No. So what they'll do is Blackest Night. They'll have it as the season 3 cliffhanger, and then it'll all get resolved in the first episode of season 4, with no lasting consequences whatsoever.
Bro, honestly, hold on. Stop. Now my brain's going. So you know how they use for those that y'all need to read Blackest Night. It is literally, if not my personal favorite, one of the best Green Lantern comics ever written. So Nathan, you here with me? You here? Okay, get in this zone with me. Okay, get in this zone with me. So you know how stay in this zone.
Stay on target.
Stay on target. So you know how Ben Affleck has been like, bro, I'll only come back for Zack Snyder. What if they use the Ben Affleck Batman as the Batman that is reincarnated for the Death Ring?
Ooh, the Black Lantern Batman?
Yes. And then it like turns out like, oh no, he's still dead. But you know, like,
well, that Batman wasn't dead though.
Okay,
that's the
I know.
problem. He was
I
trapped
understand.
in time.
You
Comics
can
are weird.
you can do something else, but it's still like, how cool would that be if they were like, and you know, because it's a big reveal in the beginning of the novel, like, bro, they got Batman, and like, just I'm imagining that pan shot of like, if it has to be Guy, sure, but that's the only one I know of that's you know been cast. But having him like go like just a face of fear just washes over him as Batman, as a Black Knight comes out, and just like, it's so perfect. I'd be down for it.
See, that's not kind of what I'm hoping for, because I'm that weird niche person. The Green Lanterns are cool, but the Blue Lanterns are where it's at, man.
They are.
If we get the other Lantern Corps on the show, and I kind of feel like since it's a TV show, we could get more of the actual Lantern Corps. We could get Josh's Red Lanterns with Atrocitus.
Give me Atrocitus, baby!
What's Atrocitus' cat's name again?
I have no idea, but it's so cool.
Because, guys, there's Red Lanterns, which basically are powered by anger and rage, and their big leader has a cat that also has a red lantern. It's kind of amusing. Whereas the Blue Lanterns are powered by hope. They're basically the Hufflepuffs of the Lantern Corps, and I love them so very much. But in Blackest Night, which we've talked about, so basically everything's in the worst possible situation, and so in case of emergency, break glass, every colored ring goes to one special person in the world that most exemplifies that trait. So you get these people that don't normally have rings getting rings, like Lex Luthor getting the Ring of Greed, Barry Allen getting the Blue Ring of Hope, becoming a Blue Lantern, and it just makes me happy, although it probably should have gone to Superman, but whatever. Mara, for some reason, getting Rage. That moment would be fantastic on a series. But the other moment that would, nowadays that we've already seen it, would feel like ripoff of Endgame. Blackest Night was intended to bring a whole bunch of characters back to life that were already dead, like Aquaman, the Hawkman and Hawkgirl. So Black Lantern rings are powered by death. White Lantern rings bring things back to life. And so they use the White Lantern rings to bring back the entire old Justice League of everyone that's died. And so there's this great, 4 full pages of all the dead superheroes coming back, and all it says is just, rise. Rise. Everyone coming back to life, and you're just like, oh, everyone's back? Oh. And then, of course, it goes bad because the white ring brings everybody back to life, and sometimes there's threats out there that you would rather them have stayed dead. Certain Crisis on Infinite Earth villains. Blackest Night is great. So I think there's a lot of fantastic possibilities with this Green Lantern series. I wouldn't be surprised if we get more casting in the next week or two. But as Josh is flipping through his copy of Blackest Night, anything else you want from this show, or any other castings you hope to see? Ooh, dude, I got a dangerous thought, which you know is always scary. Yes. Casting-wise, we know we're getting Alan Scott. How would you feel about Alan Scott played by Neil Patrick Harris?
Yeah, I'm down for that. I really shouldn't have opened this up. I'm like, oh, this is so cool.
It's such a good book, though.
Dude, Barry in blue looks so good.
Yeah, he does. Well, except in Snyder Cut. I still defend that as a bad choice.
You're not wrong. Anyway, on to some HBO Max.
Yeah, so HBO Max has had a bit of a uphill battle so far. It didn't have the best launch, not launching on Roku and Amazon. And now it seems like they're doing another desperation call, as they're going to be offering a new package with more affordable pricing. However, there's a catch. So HBO Max currently is $14.99, so basically $15. You get the premieres and everything else. But they're going to offer a package starting in June for $9.99 a month. You get HBO Max, but you get it with ads, and also something that people aren't talking about enough. You get it with ads, but you also don't get your same day as movie premieres. You would have to pay the $15. So if you want to see The Suicide Squad or Dune come out the same day as it comes out in theaters, you would have to have the higher tier. This, to me, seems like yet another desperation play here from HBO Max. A lot of their moves have just come across as utterly desperate, whether it's, hey guys, you don't need to see the movies in theaters, you can just watch them at home for no additional cost. It doesn't matter if we pissed off every single director that's ever existed doing this. It's best for us. And so far, it hasn't worked out for them. They're getting some people, but they're not projecting as fast as some others. I honestly think Peacock has done better financially than them. I think Peacock, last time I checked, is at 44 million subscribers. They got those really quick. 1, Peacock is cheaper, but 2, Peacock has The Office. And no matter where you stand on that, people are going to flock to that no matter what. It's comfort food for people. I think Peacock as a whole was much more user-friendly off the bat and has made less mistakes than HBO Max. But Josh, do you think this $9.99 is a good move for HBO Max or a stupid one?
Here's the thing. HBO Max is like Hulu in that the interface can be very difficult to navigate.
Yes.
Now, with them going, hey, you can have ads or you can't ads. You're basically Hulu now with more aggressive content. That's all it is.
I won't say the interface is as bad as Hulu's. I think Hulu still has the worst interface of any streaming service. It's really hard to find content on Hulu.
It is, but maybe it's not as much for me because I have been using Hulu for so long, so I'm just kind of used to where things kind of are. But I think Hulu
is bad for discovery. If you know what you're looking for and you know it's on Hulu, it's not that hard to find. Or if you're looking for the stuff that they advertise, if you're looking for more the obscure titles, they bury the crap out of those on Hulu, and they make it very difficult. I think there's a lot of features that HBO Max could improve upon first before doing this tier. We're still missing a crap ton of 4K content. They just recently introduced personalized profile pictures, but only on like certain mobile devices. Like when I watch the app on my TV, it still just says my name, but if I watch it on the PS5, it's got my little Superman logo that I uploaded. Like, it's super weird and super inconsistent.
Bro.
Which, yes, Josh, I gave you the Cyborg logo.
Yeah, I was like, what is this? I'm not Cyborg if I'm any character.
Well, okay.
I'm definitely not Cyborg.
Okay, I can upload any logo. Is there a preferred logo you would like? Also, Cyborg was one of the default ones.
Okay, that's fair.
Whereas some other ones you can upload. Do you want to be static?
No, I'm not cool enough to be static.
That's true.
I like how I'm gonna say. I'm not cool enough to be static. Make me Kratos.
I'll make you this Kratos, the Kratos that you're on the show here.
Yeah.
But okay, just off the cuff, Josh, if you were in charge of Warner Brothers and you were tasked with how do we get people to sign up for HBO Max, or quote unquote, how do we fix this? What are you doing with it?
Unfortunately, I think it might be do a cheaper tier, because if anything, at least test to see, is part of this, are people not coming to our service because of price? Okay, well, let's lower the price, give this tier. Okay, cool. Okay, so the numbers have only barely improved. Now we know it's other stuff. Granted, you and I, as people that watch a lot, on HBO Max a fair amount, know that it's more the interface. There's certain 4K content missing. Sometimes it's really hard to find stuff that you want to watch.
Stuff coming and going.
Yes, with no way for us to know why it's not there. Why? Like, I remember them saying New Mutants is going to be on HBO Max, but they never told us when.
Now
never told it. Yeah, it is now. But, it's so, to me, for you and I, who use a lot of streaming services, it seems like a lot of better stuff to do, but from a marketing standpoint, I can kind of understand where they're coming from. It's not the best idea, but I mean, it's cheaper.
I still think the number one problem that HBO Max has had from its inception, and it's an issue that they've waited too long to address, and I think it's one of the biggest problems for them, it comes down to the name. The name is confusing to a lot of people. Some people had HBO. Those people get transported and they get HBO Max now. Like, they get lumped into that. But a lot of people that didn't have HBO are just going, well, I didn't have HBO before. How is this any different than that? How is that different than HBO Now or HBO Go? I think a lot of people just assume that this is an extension of HBO, not realizing that it's an extension of Warner Brothers and so much more. If you called it Warner Plus or Warner Media All Access or WB Movies or something like that, WB Entertainment, something that more people will know that this is an all-encompassing thing as opposed to a very niche thing of HBO, which is a big name in TV, but a lot of people don't have HBO. They just borrow someone else's password. I've always thought HBO Max was a bad name for a streaming service, but to be fair, Peacock is a bad name for a streaming service, but they've managed to overcome that. But in Peacock's defense, people know that Peacock means the NBC Peacock, and it's NBC programming. Rebranding is really, really important. I think it was a step in the right direction for Paramount Plus to rebrand from being CBS All Access. Now they just have to have content to reflect the name change because they're still very, very thin on content. But take like Discovery Plus. It's $5 a month. People know what they're getting from that Discovery Channel programming. Heather just got it recently. She watches that a lot. I watch Shudder. I know what I get when I'm watching a app called Shudder. It's horror stuff. HBO Max, I think the name has been an issue the whole time. It's their single biggest issue, and the sooner they address that, I think they'll fix a lot of their problems.
Yeah. And to be frank, I mean, we're talking about interface and stuff like that. Netflix's interface is awful now too, because I can't.
Oh yeah,
It's so hard
they only
to
ever
search
promote
by
their own
genre.
stuff.
Yeah, and like, you know what? I'm sorry, Netflix, but not all your stuff is watchable.
Not a lot of it is.
No. So, um, yeah, it's HBO Max is in a weird spot. I think sometimes we just put them under a microscope because they're the ones that screwed over a bunch of directors and production companies. So, I mean, I don't know, man. Justify your actions, you know?
Well, we've got a special sponsor that we're gonna go with from here on out, basically.
Yeah.
So I decided to do a thing, and now you guys can do a thing too. We now have Uncharted Media merch. We have a whole bunch of stuff on the TeePublic site. I submitted our the compass as our more or less the brand logo for Uncharted Media. You can get that on shirts, baseball tees, 3/4 hoodies, long sleeves. Not feeling clothing? You've got stickers, notebooks, wall art, mugs, cups. We've got a whole bunch of new stuff. So if you like what you're hearing on the Uncharted Media podcast, if you like any of the just regular video content on Uncharted, the YouTube channel, check out the link in the description. See if there's anything you like. If this goes well, we'll introduce more designs. Josh and I have already talked about we need a tinfoil hat shirt, clearly,
Yes.
at some point. So, yeah, if you like Uncharted Media and want to support the show somehow, we've got shirts now. We've got stickers now. We've got a whole bunch of stuff. So in all upcoming podcasts, I'll make sure to link the store in the description. Go there, see what you like. Whole bunch of colors and varieties. TeePublic has been fantastic. I've bought numerous t-shirts from them in the past. I didn't realize how easy it was to upload a design. It was super, super easy. So now choose from a variety of colors, whether it's just a solid or a heathered design, heathered color, long sleeve, baseball tee, hoodie, whatever you're feeling. TeePublic's probably got you covered, and we've got you covered now with Uncharted Media merch. Yeah, go check it out. Go find some cool stuff. But now, we're going to be taking your questions. You delivered some really good ones. Some quick ones, some more long-form questions that we'll be discussing. So what we'll do is we'll just kind of go through the questions. We'll say who submitted the question. We'll just kind of bounce off each other and go from there. It's your stereotypical question and answer. Got them all in the handy-dandy notebook. iPad. All right. This first one is fun. The first three are from my wonderful wife, Heather. First one. What movie would we star in together? Now, Josh, how should we approach this? Is this like a made-up movie or a movie that already exists?
Let's do one of each.
Okay.
What movie do you think we would star in?
Tucker and Dale versus Evil?
Oh, easily. It's like so obvious that I'd be Tucker. Like
Are you Tucker?
Wait. Tucker's
Tucker's Alan
the younger
Tudyk.
brother.
Tucker's Alan Tudyk.
Okay, then
you're Dale. You're definitely Dale.
Yeah.
I was thinking about some other pairings, but I'm just like, no, Tucker and Dale versus Evil fits too well.
Yeah, it really does. What movie would we be in together if you and I wrote it? I shouldn't even have to think this hard. It's a treasure adventure movie. Are you kidding me? Absolutely. Make it stupid. Like we're going to go find the last. We're going to make a movie about finding the last blockbuster. I mean, that
sounds more like a documentary that Rhett and Link would make.
It is a documentary. What are you talking about? Have you ever seen it?
Yeah. No, it would totally be a treasure hunt, but it would be something stupid like finding the last Twinkie, like in Zombieland, or like trying to find a VHS copy of The Force Awakens or something like that.
Yes, absolutely.
Just something stupid. It's like us. It would be like our version of like a not stoner version of Tenacious D, basically.
Yeah.
Just stupidity. Tenacious D mixed with Bill and Ted, basically.
It would end with us being like, God, all right, we found it. The only existing VHS tape of Force Awakens. Now what? Well, now we watch it. Do you have a VHS player?
We
No.
finally watch it. We're just like, this is in
This
360p.
is
This sucks.
I don't know what I'm looking at.
Is that Ray? No, that's Finn.
That's Finn.
Okay. Now,
solid.
This one's fun. If we could write any movie, what would it be? Now, obviously, for anybody that's listened to podcasts for any stretch of time, my immediate go-to would probably be a Nightwing movie. I've said that numerous times, and I have a full-length story idea. If anybody wants to use that, you're welcome to use that, people that are making a Nightwing movie. So I kind of wanted to push myself and go with the not obvious answer here. Josh, I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast, but there's been an idea in the back of my mind that I'm just like, if I was to ever write a movie, this would be it. I'm going to keep it in a lockbox and save it for a rainy day. But are you familiar with the movie The Descent of the women spelunkers?
Yeah.
The Descent is basically a bunch of women that go exploring in a cave, and they get trapped, so they have to go further and further in this cave, and there's creatures down there. It gets very claustrophobic, and it's pitch black. It's terrifying. I would do something like that, except in a pyramid for a new Mummy movie, a claustrophobic horror movie in a pyramid, because a weird fear that I always had as a kid was, in history, you learn about ancient pyramids and everything else, and you learn that the pharaohs and everyone else used to make these trap rooms for looters. They would get stuck in the pyramids forever, and they would never be able to find their way out. They would get trapped there, and they would die, and no one would find their bodies. Now, compact that claustrophobia and feeling of being lost and stuck in a labyrinth with a mummy chasing you. It doesn't need to be fast if you've got nowhere to go. And if he doesn't get tired, he can't burn out. He will eventually catch you in this pitch black. Go with like an Alien or Descent claustrophobic feel, but meld it with the Mummy, which admittedly is hard to make scary. But in that context, I think could be totally terrifying, and it would be different enough than the Brendan Fraser Mummy to be its own thing.
Yeah, you'd have to work hard to not make it like go full Scooby-Doo.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, totally. I have thought about this for a long time. There is a comic that I've wanted to see brought to life called Huck. It's about this. I mean, he's blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy, but he is mentally handicapped. It's not necessarily said what exactly is going on, but it's kind of like it seems like a high-functioning autism. But it turns out that he's a science experiment and has like superpowers and stuff like that. And so it's a story about how does someone who can't necessarily interact with the world like the rest of us can save the world. How does that interact and stuff like it's either that or actually write a Redwall movie because Lord knows I could probably get it done faster than Netflix is.
I'm getting with your story. I'm getting very A Quiet Place vibes of like your weakness is your strength, basically, of what the world often perceives as a defect could actually be a strength and a source of power compared to everything else. I would be very much down for that. I think Heather very much would be too, because that's very much her area currently, is working with students like that. And I've worked with students before. I think they're always fascinating to work with, of just like, your brain just works differently than mine. It excels in areas that mine does not, and that's awesome. Josh, you better know this one. Last one from Heather. What was the first movie we watched together? You better know this one.
I don't know, Nathan.
Now, it would be tricky if she asked what was the first movie just you and I watched.
Yes.
That I would not know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
But the first movie you and I watched together, like in a physical space.
Yes, was Fight Club, baby. And it was the first time I'd ever seen it, so that was
same here. Which seems about right, because Fight Club has always just screamed college students' favorite movie, because they're just like, it's edgy and it understands me. I'm gonna put a Fight Club poster in my room. I'm just like, oh, so you're new to the world of movies then.
Got it. Yeah, heard. Yeah.
But, like, it was fine. I just had never seen it before. So it was you, me, and in our college, we had this thing called freshman connections. Basically, hey, you look like an awkward introvert. You're going to be forced to talk to 10 or 11 people for half a semester just to get you out of your awkward bubble. And all of us are just going, no, thank you. So there was somebody in my freshman connections called Luke Hyatt, who, after freshman year, I didn't really see a ton, but we would still be on good terms. We'd say hi whenever we passed each other in quad. Love Luke Hyatt. You were just at his wedding not too long ago.
Like 5 years ago, yeah.
What?
Yeah. Dude,
okay.
It's been a hot minute. But yeah, no, I saw him. Actually, I saw him last year.
Okay, I knew you saw him recently. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you said you were going to go out on a road trip and see him.
Yeah. Because
I'm not
he had
crazy.
just gotten back. Yeah, because he just came back from Paraguay and all that. Anyway, yeah, but Luke Hyatt is my buddy. He's my best friend.
Yeah, so I knew Luke through this freshman connections class. He was like one of my only friends for the first couple weeks of school, and he knew this weirdo that was just like loud and boisterous, and even Josh can't deny that much.
I mean, yeah.
Basically, what you see is what you get with Josh in real life, and he's always been the extroverted one of the two of us. And that's saying something, because if put him in the right situation, and Josh is also not extroverted, like, if we were to go to a restaurant or something and, like, we're missing something, we're just not going to have that at a meal, because neither of us are going to speak up enough to say anything.
Correct.
But Josh is, like, this loud, boisterous person, and we're just like, yeah, we're going to hang out in the dorm and watch Fight Club. I'm like, oh, cool. And I remember it was, like, not the best watch situation. Like, he put the TV like on top of the cupboard or something, and it was it
was the only place for it was the only place for it. Like, there was only a love seat in there, because I mean, it's a freshman dorm, so there's only so much furniture can fit in there.
Yeah, like somebody was laying in the bed, so people were
it was awkward. But to be fair, later when we did our our October fests, where we'd watch
October fest.
I don't know what else to call it, but like literally watching at least one scary movie every single night of the month of October.
In Cody's dorm.
Like, we literally would pack close to 10, 15 guys in one of those small dorm rooms, and just to watch. It was
breaking all kinds of health code violations. It was.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, we were like sardines there. Especially if you ever watch a horror movie with Josh, make sure you scare him when it's at its most tension filled. If you want to get punched really, really hard.
That's a great idea. It's so funny.
Yeah, guys, I'm trying to get Josh here for Horror Nights this year, and I am genuinely concerned that if he gets too startled by people jumping out at him, that he might punch somebody and get us kicked out, and I don't want that to happen. Josh, they can't touch you, just so you know.
It is my life's goal to get you banned from Halloween Horror Nights.
Don't you dare. Don't you take that away from me. If you end that for me, I will end you.
Oh, you can't kill something that's already dead inside. Anyway, so next question.
Okay. A little bit of a long one from one of our most loyal and one of our most awesome people. AJ has basically followed us for the longest time. Always likes and retweets all of our stuff on Twitter. What least talked about storylines in the cinematic universes of either DC or Marvel, maybe a novel or game like Uncharted or All, would you be interested to see the most adapted in a movie? So basically, like, what lesser known stories in any universe's video game, movie, anything would you want to see most adapted to the big screen? I had to think about this one for a while. This is a really good question, AJ. But my go-to is there's a Superman story called Superman for All Seasons, and it's basically 4 decent length chapters about people, how they view Superman. So there's one from the perspective of Martha Kent as a mother, one from Lex Luthor as obviously his enemy, and it all takes place in chronological order over the course of a year. That's why it's called Superman for All Seasons. 4 chapters, 4 seasons. And it's this different side of Superman that I really, really like. There's very much not a main antagonist. Like, Lex Luthor's in it, but there's not a main evil force to it. It's more just, this is the human of Clark Kent. And I really, really liked that aspect. It's where the line from that Superman and Lois used on their pilot episode of the show of he saves some kid and gives him his hat back. And the kid's like, "Oh, I like your suit." And he's like, "Thanks. My mom made it for me." Like, Superman and Lois use that exact same line, and it's from that comic. Great. And I freaking love it. It's this like very human side, and also it kind of has this like epilogue to it. It's a flashback scene of when Clark is a kid in school, and one of his friends, who's kind of like a shy loner, develops cancer, and Clark kind of has to deal with that. So it's not your traditional Superman story. It's very much a more human story. It's very much like if Norman Rockwell was writing Superman, and visually looks different than any other Superman story. It almost is like all of Smallville knows who Superman is because of their experiences with Clark growing up, and I really, really enjoy it. It's one of my favorite Superman stories. I understand it would be hard to adapt, but having a much more Clark-centered story for Superman and a compassionate side to the character who is just, when he's Clark, is just more shy, and he's like this big, huge, he kind of looks a lot like, who's the bad guy in Into the Spider-Verse? Kingpin. He looks a lot like Kingpin's build, but he just has this like hunch to him and awkwardness. But when he's Superman, obviously he's chest puffed out, ready to save the day. It's just a very human story that you normally get this big, huge, sweeping epics with Superman, and this story is very personal, and I really, really enjoy it a lot, and I think it would be a great movie.
Yeah. That sounds so good.
Or,
it's funny.
Or Battle for the Cowl with Nightwing.
Oh, there it is. I think I haven't been quiet about me wanting Redwall to finally be an actual show or series. I haven't been quiet of wanting to see Danny Rand as Daredevil and having that storyline come to be a thing. So one of the things I haven't talked about is that I read a book series recently. I'm going to say within the last couple of years. Actually, no, last year I found it last year. It's called Renegades. It's by Marissa. Yeah, Marissa Meyer. It's superhero stuff.
Michael's sister.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a superhero story, and like there's so much to go into it, obviously, but like your main characters, like the main character, Nightmare. She can put people to sleep by like touching them, and that's it. That's all she has to do. And like she can control how long they go to sleep, blah blah blah. And there's her eventual love interest, whose name is escaping me at this particular moment. His superpower is anything that he draws comes to life, and so eventually he starts figuring out like he can tattoo himself and stuff like that. So he starts giving himself powers, and so it's just the whole series is very, very intriguing, very interesting, very well written. It would be really, really cool to see it come to life.
Next, from Darian, do you think Chris Rock will be able to pull off his role in Spiral? He's known more for his comedic roles and very seldom does serious roles. I actually had this debate with people at work because this is a really fascinating issue. Because normally, I would say yes, because comedic actors 9 times out of 10 make great dramatic actors. Robin Williams, great comedic talent. But an even better dramatic actor, Awakenings, Good Will Hunting, 1 Hour Photo. If y'all haven't seen 1 Hour Photo and want to see a different side of Robin Williams that might give you nightmares with the single worst jump scare we've ever seen, and the only jump scare that's ever gotten us in trouble for being too loud. Robin Williams, Eddie Murphy recently, Dolomite Is My Name, being fantastic. Normally, it sounds so mean, but it's true. Comedians use comedy to hide their pain, so when they tap into that pain for dramatic purposes, usually something spectacular happens. I know Chris Rock apparently was on Fargo, the most recent season of that. I didn't see that, so I'm not familiar with that side of him, but almost everything else has been comedy, and so far from the trailers, I just get a comedic vibe from him, and I have a hard time seeing him as a cop. Whether it's a hard-bitten cop or just a more Chris Rock-style cop, I just have a hard time seeing him in that role of power. But then again, something that could play into this big time is this is his story. He's the one that came up with this idea for this new Saw spin-off, sequel, whatever we're going to call it, for Spiral, this is Chris Rock's idea. So maybe that can motivate him to be a great role in this. I'm not sure, because I'm the optimism on the show more often than not. I'm going to lean towards yes, because he's the one that created the script.
Yeah. And that's kind of like my perspective as well. First of all, Darian, if you're listening, I have to say that I'm happy that the milkman is tuning in. That's for me and him, and I will get a text message for saying that on air. And I really hope that he listens, because the milkman cometh.
I don't like how that sounds.
Bro, it's exactly how it sounds. It's the wrestling name we've affectionately given him. Yeah, I'm gonna try to be positive about this, especially at least after Jigsaw. While Jigsaw was predictable, it was entertaining. At the very least. It was fun to watch. It felt like watching Saw 1 again, where you're like, or watching Saw 1 for the second time, where everything's going to happen, but you're enjoying it because it's a well-written movie. I'm gonna try my best to lean on the positive here. I agree that Chris Rock in the trailers has come off as still kind of that his trademark comedy, but then again, maybe that's them trying to put that in the trailers to get the typical Chris Rock fans in the seats. So who knows? But then again, he wrote it, so I mean, there's a good possibility that he's going to Jordan Peele this, which is I think I'm going to just label that as a term now, because Jordan has done very well in my opinion.
But I think the big difference with that and him and Jordan Peele is, in the movies Jordan Peele has directed, he hasn't also starred in.
Also true.
Now Chris Rock isn't directing Spiral, but still, and I think it does come down to what kind of story is he telling? Is he right for this, or is this Saw fan fiction for Chris Rock? Basically.
Yes.
Next,
which I find kind of hilarious that Chris Rock would be the person of like all celebrities. Chris Rock is the guy that's like, yes, I love Saw so much I must write fan fiction. Yes, so this would be such a weird image in my head.
Indeed. Next, from my friends Aiden and Aaron, what are they going to do with John Walker, and will he appear in Cap 4? Now, I think those are two separate things entirely. Cap 4? I kind of feel pretty confident saying no, he won't be in Captain America 4, which, that's a whole other thing. Why are we going to call it Captain America 4 when it's almost like a completely new start for the character of Captain America? It's like, why don't we call it like Captain America, The New Legacy, or...
Ooh, don't tempt me with a good time.
But something like that. I feel like in terms of John Walker's relationship with Captain America, it ended pretty definitively at the end of Falcon Winter Soldier of, he knows who he is now. He's not trying to be Captain America anymore. He's content with being U.S. agent, because being U.S. agent allows him to get away with more stuff. The spotlight is not on him like it would be if he was Captain America, and clearly with the PTSD that he does, he cannot cope well with the spotlight. And I think the show handled that actually pretty well, that this is just a truly broken man that wants to do good, but he really is not in an emotional place to do that. Now, I highly doubt the MCU is done with John Walker. They gave him this new suit, which I have issues with that. The suit looked good, the blue and the red for the most part, and then when we get it, the scene was not lit in a way that you could tell that it was a new suit off the bat. Like, maybe turn down the windows so you could tell that it was a black suit, because it looked...
Bro, I didn't even know. I didn't when Walker in that scene is like, oh, it's the same suit but black, and I was like, it looks like the same suit.
Yeah, like I had to like, is it black now? Oh, I guess it is.
Okay, sure.
But yeah, I think we're not going to see the last of him. Now the question is, will he join whatever Val's team is to be kind of like a Suicide Squad type of team of go into some special covert ops missions? Or will he join the long-rumored Thunderbolts squad that's going to be coming up, which might feature Zemo, maybe Abomination, Red Hulk, and features like that it's been heavily rumored for a while, and we thought may factor into it, but then again, it clearly didn't, because Black Widow still hasn't come out, and Black Widow supposedly sets the stage for the Thunderbolts. I would lean more towards him not being on the Thunderbolts and joining whatever Val's team is, kind of like a special ops team that's off the books.
Yeah, I hope that's it, because everything else is pointing to him basically being the Hydra Captain America, and I
don't want anybody to be Hydra Captain America except Chris Evans as an alternate universe version.
Yes, but also and I think I said this after I watched the finale to you, I am so tired of Hydra.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that's really Cap's only big bad, but like
that's Steve's only big bad. That's the thing.
So
is Sam needs his own bad guys.
Yeah,
you can't keep fighting Wittrock.
Yeah, you just can't.
Oh well, he's dead now, so.
Yeah, allegedly.
You can't kill GSP.
I mean, what if? And this is just me wanting to get the Drake Bell's Spider-Man version of Wittrock.
I'm listening.
So the idea for me would be that the explosion took his legs, and so now he has the robo legs that allow him to hop like crazy. It's only because I want GSP to have to go, okay, here we go, and starts jumping.
Actually being Wittrock the Leaper.
Yes, that'd be funny. But I'm gonna go as far to say as I don't want him in Cap 4. I think we've explored what it means for Sam to become Captain America. Now, let's explore what it means for Bucky to become the White Wolf.
So yeah, I think we will see John Walker again. I just don't think it'll be in Cap 4. I think his connection with Captain America is done.
Yes.
Next, from Kenny. Do you think Anthony Starr would make for a good Wolverine? If not, is there an MCU character you want to see him jump in as? For those that don't know, Anthony Starr is Homelander from The Boys, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Now, I've seen a lot of fan art as him as Wolverine. I still refuse to let go of the fact that I think Daniel Radcliffe would be a great Wolverine because he's short and he's a phenomenal actor. He's not just Harry Potter for those people that think he's just that. I don't know why, but I don't see, primarily because Anthony Starr is too much of a pretty boy. Not Wolverine. Maybe Cyclops. I think either Cyclops, it's such a big dynamic. It's either Cyclops or I could also see him as Adam Warlock.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, he's already got the really douchey vibe going for
he does. He plays that way too well.
Yeah. So, and I'm gonna blow this trumpet like I always do. He's too tall. You need somebody short.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Did you hear that?
Don't do the Tom Hardy thing.
Did you hear that?
He's gonna bring back Tom
Hardy. No. I want it. It's not gonna happen.
More like Tom Hardy will ever play Wolverine.
Oh, you're mean.
No, I'm still kind of being very much selfish here. Ever since I saw the fan art for it, I would love Anthony Starr to be Reverse Flash in an upcoming Flash movie because gosh,
Actually, I kind of want that more. Yeah,
Finn Wittrock, I said, looks perfect for Dick Grayson / Nightwing. Anthony Starr looks exactly like Eobard Thawne. Like, it is creepy.
Yes.
And clearly he does menace well. So I would say Cyclops or Adam Warlock, which we know Adam Warlock is coming. I know some people are just like, it'll be Zac Efron. And then James Gunn will just come out and go, bro, I haven't even started casting. What are you talking about? Which I always love when directors shoot down stupid rumors.
Yes.
Because we know Adam Warlock is coming, and it's going to be a high-profile person.
I know I sent it to you, but I need to say it publicly. I love James Gunn's interaction with oh no, it just left my brain. Oh, the SNL guy. He's going to be in the new Suicide Squad movie.
Pete Davidson.
Yes. I know I sent it to you where Pete Davidson's talking about the phone call that he got from James, and he's like, "Hey man, what is Yeah, he's just talking about how easy it was to cast Pete Davidson, and anyway, I'll send it to you again because it's funny.
Any other people besides Cyclops or Adam Warlock that you see for Anthony Starr? If he makes the jump at all, maybe he's content with being in The Boys.
No, I kind of, yeah, I think he's. I'm trying to think if there's anything in DC that I wouldn't mind him being.
Oh no!
Oh,
If
oh,
it's not DC. Oh, it's technically Marvel, but we would never get a live action version of it. Big Hero 6 is
stop.
the guy with the nose, the villain, the
Oh, okay.
villain.
Okay.
If he played Alistair Cray, the guy that runs basically the big tech company, I think he actually looks a little too close to that.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say the older brother, and I was like, dude,
No!
I want to cry anytime
No!
I think about that scene.
Heck no, that's an
Oh.
Asian actor or nobody at all. His name is
Absolutely.
literally Tadashi, or as I like to call it now, Tadedshi.
Stop. Who is it? It's actually I think the guy that does the voice for Invincible,
Stephen Yu?
Stephen Yu. I think he'd be perfect. If I love how we're casting like a live action Big Hero 6 out of nowhere, but here we are.
Yes, please. In which case, you could
Absolutely.
probably still have one of the Wayans brothers be
Yep.
Wasabi.
Yeah, absolutely.
Karen Gillan as Honey Lemon.
Oh! I am here for this. Let's go.
We're getting
Let's go, baby.
that should be a
Okay,
whole
stop,
separate
stop.
video.
Yeah. Oh, man,
Casting
we're
a
gonna have to
live
not
action
do
Big
that.
Hero 6.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
jeez.
That's a slippery slope right there.
All right.
Next, from our good buddy Matt, who has his own podcast, which he needs to get back on the horse on that one. How much Marvel is too much Marvel? Genuinely curious. That's genuinely a good question. Because we are kind of getting. It felt like a few years ago when we had 3 MCU movies in the same year. That kind of felt like a lot. Now we're getting 4 MCU movies in a single year and 3, maybe 4 shows on Disney Plus all in a year. I think we're going to get close to critical mass here. However, I still remain optimistic in the sense of I don't think there will be too much Marvel so long as they keep the recipe fresh, and it seems that they're doing that. If we stuck to Captain America's and Thor's and Iron Man's, I think that might get stale. But doing a Shang-Chi and Eternals, which are radically different, doing things, while I wasn't the biggest fan of the final result, WandaVision is so radically different than anything in the MCU. I think so long as you keep the flavors varied, like you can have your 23 flavors of ice cream, whatever. There's going to be flavors for everyone. Some people might think your inventory is too big, but so long as there's still flavors that everyone likes, you can keep your ice cream shop open, and no one's going to complain about having too many flavors. It's a matter of the staleness factor. Are you keeping things fresh? Are you keeping things new? And thus far, Kevin Feige has done a good job of keeping things fresh. I feel like I messaged you, now that they're out of Endgame and they're not building to some big narrative anymore, they've just been allowed to expand in a whole bunch of different directions and also be comic accurate. Like, the movies were never not comic book accurate, but now we've seen set photos of what Miss Marvel looks like, what Hawkeye's new suit will look like in the show. We've now got an actual Scarlet Witch. We've got a incredibly comic accurate Sam Wilson Captain America. Like, I feel like they're going with this specific, all right, we've done our Endgame. Let's go back to the comics. Let's make that work. And since the comic world is so varied in variety of what the flavors are there, I feel like they're going to bring that to the movies. But if they are not careful, you are absolutely right, Matt, they do potentially run the risk of how much Marvel is too much Marvel.
I remember when these kinds of questions started to come up, like among fans of like, all right, how much? It's usually more how many superhero movies is too many superhero movies. It was around the time when Thor: The Dark World came out, and Dark World is not good. It's unfortunately not good, and almost made Chris not want to be Thor anymore. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so here's the thing. I think the idea that superhero movies were just action movies that happened to be comic related to comic references. I think that idea is gone. I think superhero movies are their own movie genre now. Uh, because A, there's so many of them. B, you just can't. They're completely different. They're completely different than action movies. So I don't think there will ever be a moment where it's like, oh, this is too much. Like, stop. Especially now when so much of the stuff that they have been putting out has been so good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know me, and most of the people that have been listening for a long time know that I am one of the biggest critics of Marvel. Whenever in their movies, like I don't give them a lot of room to move here because, especially after Age of Ultron only really technically lasting a week, or Civil War not really being a Civil War, being like a two-man battle. It just, I to me, they have proven, especially the build up to Endgame and everything so far since, to me has proven this is the superheroes genre now. You can't. It's going to be here to stay. No, not just with Marvel, but DC. Hopefully, Image comes. Hopefully, Dark Horse. Maybe some other comics and graphic novels get to come to the forefront. But I think it's too easy to say how much Marvel is too much Marvel when they're not the only ones in the game.
Oh yeah, look especially what Amazon's doing now with The
Mm-hmm.
Boys, and especially with Invincible getting rave reviews. I don't think the genre is going away anytime soon, so long as the flavors are kept fresh. Like, yes, we'll have our occasional Thor of the Dark Worlds, but then we'll get like Deadpool or Guardians of the Galaxy, something so radically different. And I feel like we actually might get that with the Eternals. Still, jury's still out on that, but the way that they're hyping that one up, that one might be something special. Next. Makes me very, very happy. How about any new info on the next Halloween movie supposedly coming this year from my friend Jim? Oh, Jim. I am so glad you asked. How much time do we got? We got a couple hours, right? Halloween movie, yes, it's still coming out this year. It was supposed to come out last year, called Halloween Kills. We got a 30-second minute teaser on Halloween, I believe, when they delayed it because unfortunately COVID ruined everything.
Mm-hmm.
However, even if COVID, knock on wood, heaven forbid, if everything goes south, this movie is still coming out this year. They've said they can't delay it any further. Even if they have to go premium video on demand, this is coming out this year. October, it was supposed to come out October 18th, I think, of last year. So sometime mid-October. It's Halloween Kills, and it'll take place immediately after Halloween 2018, with almost everybody that is alive coming back. However, they're not the only ones coming back. This movie is set to be almost a sequel to the original 1978 John Carpenter classic, more so than 2018's is, because so they got rid of all the Halloween sequels. The only one that's in this timeline is the original 78 movie and the 2018 movie. However, they're choosing what parts to bring back in, as they are bringing back Tommy Doyle and Lindsay Wallace, the two kids that Laurie babysat in the first movie. Those two characters are coming back. One of them is played by the original actress. The other one is played by a different actor. They're bringing back Sheriff Brackett, whose daughter Annie was killed by Michael Myers, but was the sheriff at the town for the first two Halloween movies. They're also bringing back Haddonfield Memorial Hospital, which is interesting because that's a location that wasn't introduced until Halloween 2, in which case Laurie meets her boyfriend Jimmy, who I still kind of would like for him to be the father of her daughter that we meet. It's either got to be Jimmy or Ben Tramer, the boy that she was interested in Halloween, the original. So yes, we get to see Halloween revisit Haddonfield, so they're kind of reintroducing that into the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
However,
Yes.
it's also been heavily speculated, and it's all but confirmed, that we're getting some heavy flashback scenes in this to that original night in 1978, whether they're going to be recreating scenes of Michael getting kidnapped by the police and Dr. Loomis. I am worried about their incorporation of Dr. Loomis because Donald Pleasance passed away in 96 or 97, right after Halloween 6 came out. They've also said that this will be the highest body count for any Halloween movie. I'm just going, does that include the Rob Zombie ones? Because a lot of people died in those. From a thematic standpoint, they've said that the 2018 Halloween was very much about the effective trauma on the victims that survived. So it was all about Laurie. They've said that to follow up on that, this movie will be all about how the town reacted to Michael Myers back in 78 and how they react to him now. So it'll be much more of a communal experience. Maybe the town of Haddonfield goes out to try and find Michael and kill him themselves, which of course will not end well. This is also supposed to be the middle part of a trilogy with Halloween Ends coming out probably the following year. They have not filmed that yet, but they'll probably start filming that soon once Jamie Lee Curtis finishes up her Borderlands movie that she's filming right now, because horror does not take very long to film. The Halloween 2018 movie, that started filming in January and came out in October. So it does not take long to film these movies. Trying to think if there's any other details. They're bringing back a lot of elements from the 78 movie. It is a follow-up to 2018's. It's a middle part of a movie. So I feel pretty confident saying Laurie will survive this just so she can finish the third movie. Everyone else, though, is fair game. I think if Michael missed you the first time, you're not surviving a second time. So probably Sheriff Brackett, Lindsay, Tommy, they're probably all gone. And I've said for a little bit, and this is more speculation here. This isn't any official news. I would not be surprised that all of Laurie's daughter dies if Karen dies, and that takes Andy Matichek's character, the granddaughter, teaming up with Grandma, more or less go, okay, we need to even the odds here. We need to finish Michael once and for all. And then that's how Laurie's story is written out, and it just leaves Andy Matichek's character, I forget what her name is. But yeah, that's about the extent of it for Halloween. I think I know the answer to this, but I'll ask anyway. Josh, did I miss anything?
You know better than me,
I know that's I missed it.
I just see trailer. I'm a monkey when it comes to this stuff. I see trailer. I watch. Yes.
What? Michael
kill? Okay, cool. I dare. Thank you.
Yeah, I also, if I had to guess, I'd say a first trailer around June. Because it's still theoretically coming out in October, so I would guess June for a release date for that. Next up, from Brooklyn, have you watched New Mutants or Without Remorse yet? And your opinion/review. I have not watched either of those yet. New Mutants is in my queue on HBO Max, and honestly, I didn't even know Without Remorse was a thing until about a few days ago when it just like blew up my social media feed of just everyone talking about Without Remorse. More of, is it a Netflix movie or Amazon? Whoever it is, just advertising the crap out of it, and I'm just going, oh, okay, this is a movie that's come out with Michael B. Jordan. Unfortunately, I have not heard good things about either one of them, especially Without Remorse. I've heard he is fantastic in it, but I've not heard good things about the movie. So if I had to pick, I'd probably see New Mutants first, just because I'm just so genuinely curious about this movie that took, 5 years to come out and a bazillion delays.
Yeah.
That one just intrigues me more. I'm sure I'll get around to watching both, but I'll probably see New Mutants maybe by the end of this week, and then I can talk about it next week, just because it's in HBO Max for the time being. I know where it is. I know where I can find it. Easy enough to find. Josh, have you seen either of those? Are you familiar with either one of them?
I have watched New Mutants.
You have?
But Without Remorse, I'm in the same boat. I just all of a sudden commercials are everywhere for it. So I have heard nothing. Again, Josh Caveman, not know marketing much. So
he knows when there's good marketing and when there's bad marketing.
That's all I know. Yes.
That's more research that we've done ourselves. And our last question for the night, from my buddy Joe. Ironically, he's asking a Universal question when we worked at Universal together. Could Universal save their quote-unquote dark universe with a new monster movie, like with The Wolfman or Dracula? I don't think that they are going with a shared cinematic universe anymore. They learned their lesson hard from The Mummy, which, quick side tangent for those listening, if you want a good laugh, look up the original 2017 Mummy trailer with its messed up audio. It is the single funniest thing you will ever find of, they've released the trailer accidentally with only dialogue. That's it. No background music, no special effect music. So when you see Tom Cruise falling out the side of a plane, it's just like, it's the funniest thing in the world. But that movie burned their wallets so hard. That movie crashed and burned for them. But to Universal's credit, they quickly learned. And due to the success of 2020's The Invisible Man, that feels like so long ago, it seems like they've really made a concerted effort to make solo movies. They'll like license out the brands like Invisible Man or Dracula or Wolfman or whoever else, and individual storytellers will be able to make these movies. Like we're getting Chloe Zhao, who's doing The Eternals and just won Best Director for Nomadland. She's supposedly doing a Dracula movie. We're also getting some other Dracula movie. There's been rumors for a while of John Krasinski doing a Brides of Dracula movie. We know Invisible Man director Lee Winnell is doing a Wolfman movie with Ryan Gosling, which sounds really, really great, even if I was kind of hoping it was Robert Eggers. They seem to be wanting to go with individual movies of quality over quantity. And then I would imagine if those individual movies do well, I would have them loosely interconnected. The thing is, I've wanted a shared MonsterVerse for a while, but even I'll be the first to admit, how do you make that work to the level of an MCU? MCU is a cinematic universe revolving around heroes. Monster movies, these are all threats that supposedly die at the end of their movies before coming back sometime later. How are you going to unite them? Because they're all from different eras. The Mummy is very old school. The Dracula movie is gothic, old school gothic. Now, I know you could set them all in the current timeline, but since the characters are all spread out location and time-wise, it makes it a little complicated. But also, what would unite their stories together? Like MCU, there's build up for them to all be together in Avengers or in an Endgame style. What would be the quote unquote Endgame for a Monster Mash universe, which is what I'm going to call it because Dark Universe was stupid. They should have called it Monster Mash Universe, the MMU from the beginning. Whether it was a Monsters versus Van Helsing movie would be their Endgame. But even then, if you spent these individual movies with these monsters, why would you want Van Helsing to come along and beat them? I want a Van Helsing movie badly.
Yeah, and then I think that's the problem, is that the monsters are supposed to be the bad guys. So why would you do a movie? Because that's the thing, like, having a universe would imply that we're building to something, at least in today's kind of movie terms. So movie logic. What would you be building to? What, they all decide, you know what, we've had enough of this Van Helsing guy, we're all going to go after him all at the same time, but we're supposed to, like, cheer for them in that? You know, like,
it's not Friday the 13th.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. It's, to me, a quote-unquote dark universe, I don't think really should work. I almost really like what they're going with now, with the like everything being not connected, being its own thing. But it can be one of those things like, hey man, it's October. Let's watch I just got this Universal monster movie bundle that is all the new monster movies with the classic ones. Like let's watch them all. Okay, cool. Like it just, to me, that has a different but more plausible movie watching experience than, like, all right, let's figure out how to bend these stories in a non-plausible way to make them all connect.
Yeah, like even the original Universal Cinematic Universe, it's just the first cinematic universe. They're very, very loosely connected. There's no end credit scene at the end of Dracula saying, and next up, we've got Frankenstein. Like, Dracula and Frankenstein eventually cross over, but they crossed over in comedies. Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein, which is awesome. But the problem is when you have them like fight like a Godzilla vs. Kong style, it is very hard narratively to make that make a lot of sense. Like, Van Helsing is a stupid movie and it's not a good movie. But the narrative of why these monsters are fighting, that makes sense of Dracula using different creatures for his own legion of brides, basically. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But individual stories, I think, make a lot more sense. But you could just tie them under the banner of, these are all in the same universe. These characters just will not meet. So basically what DC is doing, of everything exists under the same banner, but don't expect them to cross over anytime soon. You could do a House of Frankenstein, maybe, where he meets the Wolfman, Frankenstein meets Wolfman situation. But again, I appreciate what they're doing more, and I think it's smarter now to go, all right, who are some acclaimed names in directing and filmmaking, and see if they have a unique take to the genre. Somebody please pick up my Mummy idea. I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah, no. I don't think there's much else you can do with it. I mean, it's, again, I'll just reiterate. Like, I think it's the having everything separated is really your only choice here. And I think much like how now we have all these Marvel movies that are being picked up by unique directors, and we're telling different kinds of stories. Seeing a new director's take on, say, the man, Wolfman or the Mummy or what have you, could be a lot of fun, as long as they're not being required to, all right, man, so you could tell whatever Mummy story you want, as long as you have this connected here and this character has to be in it.
Russell Crowe's Jekyll and Hyde.
Which by himself, I enjoy Russell Crowe's Jekyll and Hyde.
Except for the fact that he tells Tom Cruise, you, a younger man. I'm going, a younger man?
Younger man?
Don't flatter yourself. Well, what are some of your answers to some of our questions that we've gone over today? If we do this again, let us know if you like doing these question and answers. If you have any questions that you think we should answer in the future, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Subscribe to us wherever you're getting your audio podcast, whether it's YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts. And also, don't forget to pick up your Uncharted Media merch at the link in the description. I'll put that wherever you're getting your podcasts from. Now that we have Uncharted Media merch, go check it out. Whatever your needs are, I'm sure we can make it work. And as always, stay sharp, movie guys and gals.